My name is Bill Stomp with the Virtual Propane Expo. So Virtual Propane Expo, it's really, at this point, it's the largest propane expo in the world for 2020. Today, we're over here with Jason and Dave. Thanks for being here. Jason is the Vice President of Sales and Client Services, right? Yep, okay. Focusing a lot in compliance. 11 years with ITS. And David, you are the man that's doing the safety and reliability compliance work with the actual clients, right? And,
yeah.
And 27 years of gas experience in operations and compliance. Sorry about that. Just want to put that in. That's a lot of experience. So appreciate it, guys. Thanks for being on. And the purpose of this would really be to hear a little bit about the backstory on ITS and your backstory and how what you're doing can really benefit our listeners. Make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. So appreciate you having us on the show here and this opportunity to sponsor and be here with the Virtual Propane Expo. So industrial training services, just a quick high-level overview, and we'll dive down, Bill, where you feel adequate. But we've been in the industry for over 30 years. Actually got our start in 1977, incorporated in 1989. So as far as incorporation, last year we celebrated 30 years officially as an incorporated business. We have a full team. Our staff is around 80. We're growing like crazy. So 80 to 85 employees right now. And our focus is on training, operator qualification, database management, emerging technologies, anything that we can do to help a client maintain compliance with their state or federal or insurance requirements that they have. We have a full suite of training content that we'll get into as we dive down further into it. But again, our staff is here as far as from curriculum development teams to graphic artists on site to IT departments, customer service, the full gamut there.
Awesome. And Dave, tell us a little bit about your background, 27 years.
I started in the industry after I got out of the military. Started on with South Carolina Electric and Gas, which was a distribution group, and worked distribution through 2010. In 2010, I went over to transmission pipeline and worked compliance and transmission pipelines. And shortly after, they got purchased by Dominion Energy. And so after that purchase of Dominion Energy, I felt like it was time for a breath of fresh air and wanted to help out. Jason and ITS was part of our system. We used their system, and it was a good product. And I really wanted to get on board and see if I couldn't use my compliance background to help them out a little bit with their customers.
And Jason, tell us, you've been with the company for what I think it's 11 years, yeah. And tell us how you built out the propane side of the house and a little background on that, if you could.
Yeah, sure. So on the propane side of the house, many of the propane companies and marketers out there in the industry probably recognize industrial training services due to our longstanding relationship that we have had with NPGA, PERC, CTEP. So we have been the testing agency for them for many, many years, I believe since about 1989. And up until last year, and when they developed their internal LMS, we were the learning management system for them as well. And so if any of the people on the phone or listening to the meeting here, Janet Arnold, that name probably rings a bell with way more people in the propane industry than David or myself combined. Janet was our CTEP representative. She had been with us for 26 or 27 years and retired just recently. But she has been instrumental with the CTEP and PERC. So we have seen the industry grow. We've seen, MPGA and PERC and CTEP really just change the industry, and it's been a great ride for us to be a part of that with them. In addition from that, we also have, training content that is there that can supplement that MPGA, PERC, CTEP platform there, but we are still heavily engaged in working with them in their program to help grow that and to be a part of that.
Got it. Okay, great. So tell us a little bit about, as far as moving forward, how do you see companies in, let's say, the propane industry? How do you see things evolving for our industry in using solutions like what you have?
Yeah, so one of the biggest things that we see are companies trying to get away from paper to try to get into more of an automated process for their documentation. And as we get further down into it, we'll be talking about a new application that we have called Onboard Assure. And that's where David's going to take some of that away from his years of experience on the automation. But one of our goals, again, is to ensure that people have access to their records, their documentation on time, anytime, from anywhere. So we have little items with us that we have, such as what we call our little e-wallet cards. They're photo ID cards that each individual person can have, and they've got this little QR code on them. So if you scan that QR code from any smartphone or tablet, it shows what training or qualifications, certifications that individual holds in real time. And so anything, again, that we can help to do to eliminate that paper process, to automate that documentation. And then also on the training side, the propane industry for a long time has been very reliant on paper-based content and materials. And we are still a print shop, by the way. I mean, not only do we have all of the technology items, but we are a print-on-demand company. So people can order paper-based, instructor-led content. And I always want to say, we strongly value a knowledgeable instructor in front of a group of individuals. That shared experience is second to none. So we are always promoting that aspect as we move towards more digital content and making our knowledge available through ebooks or interactive computer-based training courses. While that is designed for self-paced learning, it is not our intent to replace an instructor with these avenues for learning. It's our intention to kind of strengthen the toolbox of what the instructor has available to them. So we are seeing companies trend away from the paper and moving strongly to more online exams, online content, available through your smartphone or your tablet or your laptop or PC, and it's on demand. I mean, what's really nice about it is updates are automatic. If we have anything on our side that we update in the content, well, every time you log in to access it, you're viewing the latest, greatest information without having to reorder any additional books or additional content there.
Wow. Okay, that's huge. Pretty cool. So it sounds like you can use this. You can scan the barcode scan to actually bring up this person's information as far as their qualifications and that sort of thing. So this technology, how do you see people using it out in the field moving forward or in the future?
So with the propane industry, there are, we look at it as kind of two different segments, either the jurisdictional pipeline side, which is regulated by the Department of Transportation per 192 requirements, or the marketing, kind of the bobtail delivery side, which is very insurance regulated, making sure you keep your insurance requirements up. So kind of thinking about the DOT, the jurisdictional pipeline side, like the e-wallet cards, 192 requires that the individuals that are qualified to work on those jurisdictional systems be able to provide the proof of qualification on demand anytime. And with these cards, you no longer have to worry about keeping a paper trail on you. You just pull out your card, they can scan it, and they can see your qualifications or your certifications in real time from the field when questioned, as well as what date those expire. And so it's just a good way to keep track of everything that you have. The other side of the mobile, if you have procedures or any kind of steps that you need your individuals to follow or access, you can log in directly into what we call our onboard. ITS developed a database, a learning management system, and we call that platform Onboard. And so with Onboard, a client can have their procedures listed within there through an ebook format or other means through PDF uploads. And their employees can access those documents from the field. So if they're out on a job site and they have any kind of question as to, really what are our procedures? How are we supposed to perform this? They could log into the system and view those in real time, as well as, if they get questions, show their training through the e-wallet cards. So again, instant access without having to carry around several trees worth of paper. That's our goal.
Yeah. Okay. Great. And as far as insurance agencies and insurance companies, tell us how do they recognize this training? What is it? Do you have a relationship with them? And is it authorized or verified or validated or something along those lines?
Good question. And the majority of the insurance agencies that we're familiar with and work with, generally they'll state that they want you to have either a CTEP or an equivalency as far as the training goes. And so, CTEP's going to get you in the door because it's listed, but ITS in our suite of training content is also listed as one of those equivalencies. So we have not had any, for those companies that are looking for that targeted task-specific refresher training, we have that available that is recognized by insurance companies.
Is that content available? Is it all available digitally?
It is available digitally, yes, paper-based or digitally, either way, whichever works best for the end client. Again, we do see the benefits of the digital access over the paper. For one thing, with the digital, you have a licensing agreement, which makes it on a per-user basis and unlimited access to our content anytime. That on-demand is there. The paper-based, obviously, there's more consumables, more time and effort that goes into the development and production, I should say, of that content. So that is kind of on a per module, per person basis, but it's available both digital and paper.
Okay. So as far as from the propane marketer's perspective, what kind of content is available these days?
So just to kind of give you an idea, we have a full suite of the operator qualification training, and we recognize what is called the ASME, what they call their B31Q task list. And so for propane, we have many tasks available. Again, task-specific operator qualification. For the marketer side, we have things such as, I'm looking at a list here, our customer service training for propane marketers, propane characteristics, equipment, procedures, and hazmat training to support job requirements for drivers. Also have propane safety-related issues for propane delivery drivers, basic procedures to propane plant operations, maintaining propane vaporizers and LP pumps, inspection of an existing gas appliance installation. We also have what we call our HMD training. So it's a hazmat procedures required for delivery drivers for compressed natural gas and liquefied natural gas, properties of compressed natural gas and liquefied natural gas, procedures required for the safe handling and delivery of anhydrous ammonia for NH3, and then also basic equipment and procedures for NH3 transfer, delivery, and storage. So that's some of the marketer training that we have, and again, that full suite of library for the operator qualification side.
Okay. Wow. All right. So as far as, programs or apps that would allow marketers to eliminate paperwork, I just want to, this today, I hear in our industry, and I read in the different industry magazines, that a lot of propane marketers are looking for ways to reduce paperwork, eliminate the time for the clerical side of filing, and just the challenges with paperwork. Sometimes, it gets lost, it gets misfiled, you can't read the stuff sometimes, and just to streamline the process. Everybody's looking to streamline their operations. It seems like that's a trend going on this year, and it looks like it's a trend that's a multi-year trend that's been really, I saw it really start to become stronger end of last year. So talk to me about that, if you could.
David, do you want to talk about the Assure program right there?
Sure. So our company, at a request of a couple operators, built a program called Onboard Assure. So Onboard Assure originally is designed as an inspection app. So to go out and inspect an individual doing the work, make sure they're doing the work properly, almost a verification of employees' knowledge and abilities, et cetera. But it is a form builder app. So basically the operator or the person would go in and build any of the forms they use. So you have the ability, it's a simple click and insert form builder. So you can click a yes, no question, a multiple choice question, or a fill in the blank question, an address box, whatever information you need in the form, you just click and drag it in, give it a title, give it the answers, and you build a form. So basically all the paper that you're using in the system now, if you've got an inspection form to inspect a person filling a truck, anything of that nature, you could actually build this form in the application. And then once you set the form to publish, then the individual in the field can get their phone out, their tablet, whatever device they have, and they can fill that form out in the field. So that form is filled in live. The lines will allow photos to be taken. So if they're filling out the form and they need to validate something with a photo, they have the ability to take a photo on site. And as they're filling out that form, all the information is collected, housed in the database, and it builds a PDF. So you get a full PDF of that filled out form to include the photos. The upside of that is now you can go in and query these forms, see what your deficiencies might be, because in the form you'll have if you're doing an inspection on a person, especially in the 192 side with doing a task, you can actually tie an individual task, whether it's an operating a valve or adjusting a regulator, whatever they're doing in the field, you can actually tie that into that inspection form to that task and watch them do the task to make sure they're doing it properly. If there's a deficiency, you're able to correct that deficiency in the field, take a photo to prove what the deficiency was so that it was corrected, and document all that information so you can go in and see, for this task, I seem to have the same deficiencies. I need a little extra training in this area. Or you can leave the deficiency alone, and then once the person gets back in the field, if there's other documentation they have to have, or maybe they just want to do some external training with the employee outside of that environment, bring the employee back in, bring them in the office, do some training, and then they can close out that discrepancy with some added training outside of the field, and then close that deficiency. And you've got all the documentation of what the deficiency was, who did the inspection, who was inspected, and track all that information, be able to develop more training or better idea of what areas maybe you have some weak training in. So that gives you the ability to run nice reports that these reports can be dumped into a PDF format. They can be dumped into an Excel spreadsheet format. They can be emailed to somebody, and it's all using the same platform technology that we're using with our evaluation applications that we have. So the Assure app is basically a brilliant inspection app for an individual. We've launched it and we've talked to some of our operators and some of our individuals that would be interested in this. And some of the feedback that we've received also is they would like to see this app be able to be used as an asset management app. So if you, instead of inspecting a person, you're inspecting an item. So we are looking at that. We're looking at the programming of that. It's the same concept. It's just turning the asset into a person. So we're definitely looking at that option because we can see the benefit to the client. So in the propane world, if you've got a lot of assets that need to be inspected in a 3-year interval or yearly interval, or every time they get in the truck, they've got certain inspections they've got to do on the truck before driving away, it would give them the ability to take that and do that inspection. So we think that'll be a very useful item in the propane world once we develop that side of it.
Okay, great. Now, some of the guys in the trucks have tablets, some have smartphones, some have like Windows devices, Windows tablets. Some have Android smartphones or tablets or Apple stuff. Which devices do these things work on these days?
It will work on all the above. We have an app out there on the store that you can download into any one of those devices, and it works well with all of them.
Okay, great. Is it talking via the cellular network back to the database, or is it talking through Wi-Fi, or how does that work?
It would be talking through the cellular back to the database, but just like our onboard evaluation app that we have, the evaluation app has the ability to actually operate offline. So if they're out in the field somewhere and they don't have cellular reception, they can go ahead and use that app, come back in out from the field. Once they get back into a reception area, the system will automatically kick in and start downloading that information back to the database. So we would definitely try to make sure that capability is there in the Assure app as well.
Yeah, the Assure app is already ready to go on that side. It'll work in a connected or a non-connected area. And again, if you're in a Wi-Fi, it'll work off that Wi-Fi. If not, it'll work off the cellular service. And to David's point in your question, there really is no standardization as to what type of equipment or software platform that the client works off of. Android, Apple, Windows. There's so many different options out there. We try our best to allow our technology to work across browsers, across platforms, and we will support, we try to run it to where if one of the major providers supports that system, then we will support that system. At a certain point, you're not going to be able to download our items on an iPhone 3 any longer, but they've long gone out the window. But you still can use this on any type of relatively modern running service device.
Great. Yeah, that's super important. And you're right. There's so many devices that are now getting old that you need to put them out to pasture sooner than later, most likely. Okay, cool. And you were talking about jurisdictional systems. Do you just want to give a little insight for those that are listening about how you help with that for the propane side?
Yeah, sure. So on the jurisdictional system, like I said before, we do have a full suite of that DOT content. The other side with the jurisdictional system that we have is we always look at the credibility of the program and defending that credibility for our clients. So we have a train the trainer program that for the evaluators and the proctors, we do vet these individuals to make sure that they have the skill sets necessary to be an evaluator for operator qualification. We require them to go through that vetting and then also complete our train the trainer program where they have to demonstrate their capabilities to successfully navigate through our technology as well. We want to, and we look at that as a relationship building opportunity with the client, but more importantly, we also want to make sure that we set them off with the tools and knowledge they need to be able to navigate through our database correctly. David was mentioning our evaluation app. That's called our Onboard Connect app, and that's what the evaluators can have out in the field for the OQ side of it. And with Connect, it does allow, again, the elimination of the paperwork. Everything is in real time. You can have your performance evaluation documents right there on your smartphone or tablet. Go through the evaluation just as you would any other paper-based form, but you're completing this on your device. You're taking those photos, and when you click submit, it will document the photos per procedure line, the duration, which is important. If this was a 30-minute task, but yet your evaluation took 2 minutes, well, that probably was a pencil whipped evaluation. So by seeing the duration, by knowing the location, by completing all of the forms successfully and capturing the signatures, when you hit submit, it automatically goes into our system, creates that PDF like what David was referring to on Assure. And now you have your audit trail built into the system, and you've got your validated employee that you can turn back around and scan that e-wallet card 30, 45 seconds after submitting that document, and it's already showing that person is ready to go to work. We have reminders for these individuals, and this isn't just for the OQ folks, but for anybody that's holding training or certification or qualifications in our system. If there's an expiration date on that, they're going to get a 30-day, 60-day, 90-day reminder of their upcoming expirations that they need to start taking action on. And that can go out to the employee supervisor, to the system administrator, whoever you want that to go to, multiple people if you need it to. So, and then they can go in and generate those reports and make those assignments or reminders. So for the qualification side of the house, we do have a lot of tools there, and not just a lot of the tools, but we want to make sure, again, that credibility of the process and the integrity of the process is intact. We also have OQ plan writing. We can assist them with writing an OQ plan or program to, again, make sure that they are compliant. So a lot of consulting services that we can provide to go along with the technology and the platform and the content.
Okay, so when it comes to procedural writing and review, you have a team that can also assist with that, is what you're saying?
So yeah, so we can work with them on going through their reviews of items such as that, and also, again, writing the OQ plans for them as well. Another thing that we have in our network is what we call approved providers. And an approved provider essentially is a hired gun that is by and in association with ITS. And so these are skilled trainers, skilled proctors, skilled evaluators. If a company does not have the internal personnel or staff available to complete their training, or maybe they do, they just want somebody else to come in, because a lot of times we hear that somebody's employees are going to listen to somebody else more so than they will listen to somebody from inside their company to, again, build that credibility there. So we have this network of third-party providers that are available to the propane industry if they need those ad hoc services at any time.
Awesome. Great. Well, I already had received some questions from some people who are interested in this whole conversation and this interview. So I think I've run out of questions. I'm going to see if I've received any more while we've been talking. And if for those of you that are in the session, if you have any questions for me, I'm going to go ahead and take those now. I would say that it sounds like you truly can, especially with the qualification and certification of what our employees are doing out in the field. You truly have a handle on it. You've been working with the industry for a while. So when it comes to technology, any apps or smartphones, Windows, Apple, or Android, your technology can work on all these in the field, outside of cellular or inside. It's going to be able to document what our industry needs to do and help make sure that we're in compliance. And one of the biggest expenses we have in the propane industry is compliance and insurance in that whole area. And it's really important to us. It's important from a safety perspective and making sure our customers are safe and employees,
Okay.
So one of the most important questions that you guys get, or most frequent questions you guys get from companies like ours, the propane marketing type industry.
That's a good question. Again, I think one of the biggest questions that we're seeing now is how can you take us into this new virtual world that we are going into with the travel restrictions that are there? How can we allow individuals to have access to content, to documentation, to the tools and resources they need remotely without having to come into direct contact with large groups of individuals and such as that? And so really way prior to any of this COVID-19 madness that we've got going on, we've been doing this for years. That's been our goal for a long time. And right now, it's just kind of allowed us to catapult our services forward with the restrictions that are there right now. More and more people are looking into solutions for what we've been providing for a long time.
Yeah, I think that's critical. And that is the trend. Things were heading in that trend, that general direction before the whole COVID thing, and now just expedited tremendously. So thank you guys for being on this. Our industry, like many of the industries you work with, is looking for people, that know the propane industry. You guys know that, and that are helping us move in the direction of compliance, digitization, and being able to do things remote. A lot of times our work, we have workers that are working remote. We need to be able to handle that paperwork and the compliance aspect efficiently and remotely. So thanks a lot. Thanks for being here, and thanks for joining us.